All right, good morning. So now I'm like, after that one day of not having any audio, I'm like super paranoid. Always want to make sure that the audio is working here. So I was studying Friday's chart this morning. I only got about half an hour into half an hour into the 3-hour video. So I probably have about another hour and a half of studying that one. So didn't quite get done. Gonna have to do that later, but I'm gonna leave up those markings so that way I can study that later on. And let's get into today. So starting off, looks like this range. Looks like this downtrend could have a close outside a new low, but it's not a convincing one. If there is, definitely not a lot of price action in the overnight. And it's same thing going over here. I'm gonna unextend that. Could find some support down here at the overnight lows. Maybe some resistance up there at the overnight highs. Definitely looks like a leg up, the break a new high, but I'm not sure exactly what's going on over here. Looks like this downtrend is intact to me, I believe. Always a lot of overnight movement for the CL. I mean, seriously, you could probably start trading at like 4 in the morning, and like that's still a lot of movement, still a good amount that you could trade. That downtrend could be correct, or it could just be some sort of spike in channel. Or it could be neither. It could be like this, which I actually like the best. That's not what I meant to do. I like that a lot. I like how the midline plays through there, and then it gets a break a new low. Finds a little bit of support, break a new low. And we might even go into another spike in channel, which looks correct to me. Something like that. Hold 2 legs up, 1, 2. It's probably a pretty good short to take there if I was here. I guess I was here. Sort of. I was here, but I hadn't analyzed the chart yet. That's okay though. So, looks to me like everything is played out to the downside. So far as I can tell, but I still don't want to take a long because there's just no reason to long there's no reason to go long, and so far this has been just straight down, so it's risky to take a long there. I mean, like even if you took a long after this downtrend has a break in new low, strong push above the EMA, I guess it's not a break in new low, is it? Just a double bottom, but same difference basically. And you're kind of at the overnight lows there, but then prices just keep drilling down. So all that to say, I'm not taking a long there. And I woke up early this morning. For some reason I woke up at 6:30. I usually wake up at 8, so earlier than I wanted to. Not sure why. I did have a couple beers yesterday. Sometimes that'll cause me to wake up at like odd times, like super early in the morning, or like odd times of the night. So could be it, but it's not like I was like, you know, drunk, or even it was like around dinner time, so it was like decently early on in the night, so I wasn't even like, you know, feeling it by the time I went to bed, so it's kind of strange. I don't know if I can fully blame it on that anyway. And I'm marking up everything on the second chart right now. So that way I can see everything all at once. And I meditated this morning for 20 minutes, but I might as well have just not meditated because I had such a hard time quieting my mind. Hold on. Has that been muted this whole time? Hello, hello. I hope not. I don't know, I'm awful. I keep like muting my mic or like forgetting to unmute it or just forgetting to plug it in or turn it on in the first place. Just in case it was muted, I'll go back over kind of what I was saying. Woke up early this morning, about 6:30. Usually wake up at about 8. Not exactly sure why. Had a couple drinks last night. Sometimes that causes me to get up early. And I was saying that I meditated this morning, but I had a really hard time quieting my mind, so I might as well have just like not meditated because it was more so just me sitting and thinking. But I had a pretty busy weekend of events, so I was kind of like going through my mind those events. And events meaning like I run a DJ and audiovisual business, so doing those sort of events. But yeah, I was like running through things in my head and just like didn't get a whole lot of like mindfulness, I guess. On the CL, you could have another spiking channel going on. It's a little bit early to say for sure, but I think that something like that could end up being valid. Just have to wait and see. On the RTY, just in case prices keep moving down, you could get something like this, or it could even be wider, but you could get another downtrend there of some sort. Let's think about what are we looking for. Downtrend to get a more convincing break a new low on the ES. Clearly this is the overnight lows, so if that gets a break a new low, strong push through the EMA, then maybe I'll be looking for something to go long, potentially. Not seeing that currently, but it's what I might be looking for. That's a double bottom, so it's pretty close, you know, but it's kind of congestive, and like I'd like to see a more convincing climactic break a new low. All right, on the NQ, possibility for a short. I like how this downtrend kind of fits there. Looks like it's probably going to break. Possibility for a short, but nothing like imminent. CL, everything could have played out to the downside now that we're moving up and through the EMA. Thinking this spiking channel that I was thinking could be correct is probably not. You are getting a strong push up. I mentioned that maybe you could go long after it looks like all the downtrends have played out, but it's not really a great place to take a long. Prices have been trending down basically the whole entire time since 4 a.m. and just going into less steep downtrends. So this one then gets a little less steep, break, spike and channel, and just continuing to move down and down. So I don't feel good about taking a long there, not yet. And the RTY, I want to see if any kind of downtrend like this could be correct. There's not really a clear overnight low. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and remove this range. I don't want it to influence me the wrong way. The true overnight low would probably be here, because this low is at like, I don't know, it's like 20 minutes ago, half an hour ago. So definitely don't want to let that influence me. Could be a short on RTY, but nothing super close to something I'd want to take quite yet. I'm drinking some coffee this morning. Like I said, I got up a little early, so I am a little bit more tired than I normally would be. Thought it would be nice to have a little coffee. Looking forward to the trading day today. I didn't get any time at all to study over the weekend. Generally, I'll study a little bit, like on Sunday, but literally had no time yesterday. Didn't even get to review my chart from Friday. I did a little bit this morning of review. Still have quite a ways to go though. I only got through about half an hour of the video. It's about a 3-hour video. I watch basically the whole thing in 2x speed. So still got a little bit left on that one. Definitely interested in something on the CL. After this strong push up, I could maybe see taking like a second entry long or something like that. 2 legs back to the EMA type of deal. Do you want to be ready for some sort of larger downtrend that could potentially be correct? Something that I was just looking at, or maybe something like that. Just keeping an eye out. Could even end up being a slightly wider uptrend here. We do have that break a new high for the short-term uptrend, at least. Looks like this uptrend very well could be correct. We've basically hit the 2 measured moves for the spike up. Could again just be a spike and 2 legs up though for the break and new high. But if there's a really good setup to go long, then maybe I'll consider taking something. I feel like it usually takes me like a little bit to sort of warm up. But today it hasn't felt like it's taken terribly long to sort of warm up. Whenever I say warm up, I mean like sort of like feel like I have like an intuitive feel of kind of like what's going on for the day.
Order submitted.
Without having to like think too much. But today hasn't really felt like that way. It could be because there's so little price action on the ES and the NQ and the RTY that there's just like not much to really think about there. The only one is really the CL, but even that one's sort of made sense relatively quickly. Looking for maybe a second entry long here. I think this uptrend has a good chance of moving towards a break and new high. So if we do see some momentum to the upside, the nice signal bar, then it could be something I'm interested in. But again, this uptrend could not necessarily be correct. It could just be a short-term uptrend with a break and 2 legs up. So not sure. Also, this is starting to look congestive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stacked bars within this one. Something to be concerned about. Yeah, definitely not feeling taking that right into this little range high here. I'll mark it just so I remember to watch it and think about it, but I don't think that's worth the risk.
Order canceled.
Prices are really rocketing off there, so it looks like maybe I made the wrong decision. I was thinking that I didn't want to buy into this congestive high here, especially with prices just sort of gingerly ending on their highs. It wasn't like a super strong momentum move, so that's why I skipped that one. But man, prices really rocketed off there, so looks like we are headed to that high. Doesn't necessarily make it the wrong decision to have skipped this, but it's definitely interesting to see that prices are moving up and higher after that. Now that this uptrend has a close outside a new high, I might consider taking a short. The overall bias for the day has been down, or so far it's been down. So I'm very confident that this uptrend has played out. So if there's a nice strong push through the EMA, then there's a chance that I'd be willing to take a short here. Right now it's looking like that could definitely be a possibility.
Order submitted.
Want to be ready for that in case it does happen. That's a pretty strong push if you ask me.
Order filled.
So thinking prices will probably come down here for just 1-to-1. After the uptrend's played out, overall bias has been down. There's no clear target to the downside like I would typically like to see. So like if I were to take a short like this, I would typically like to have a good reason to go long or go short, whatever it is. But in this case, it's just kind of the overall bias and the fact that I really do think that this uptrend has played out. So there's a decent chance you do get a correction about this size. At least so I've found in my studies so far. Could be wrong. No increase in my heart rate or anything like that. Pretty calm. Yeah, no real physiological changes that I can tell. The ES now has a sort of more convincing close outside new low, so if we do get a push up, that could be something that I'd like. Looks like we are about to go into the open.
Order submitted.
And I should probably move this lower because prices can really take off on the open sometimes. So I need to be ready to cancel that just in case.
Order canceled.
Price is moving lower there. Definitely can tell that I'm tensing up a little bit. Could be because this CL trade is going against me for the time being. Found some support around this level. The ES is now moving up. So let's go ahead and prep for possible push through the EMA
Order
here.
submitted.
Getting some rejection off the EMA instead. So far, still not seeing it. Strong push above. Okay,
Order
there it is.
filled.
There's the momentum that I was looking for. Notice that I physically sort of jumped a little bit as I saw that, which is interesting. Kind of getting something similar on the NQ. This would basically be the same trade, but I'm not going to double up on that one, so I'm just going to watch the ES one, see what that does. Now I am noticing a slight increase in my heart rate, probably because I'm in 2 trades simultaneously. Let's see if I would have taken this ES trade, say roughly about there, be getting out about there. Looks like the ES was probably, or the NQ was probably the one to take, as it sort of rocketed off here. The ES has not quite had that same buying. Similar, but not quite. The lows could easily be down here. Just noticed that I was tight in my shoulders a little bit, so tried to loosen that up. The NQ is moving up very, very strongly. Would have already hit that target, so this could have been the better trade there. As this downtrend got to break a new low. Pretty strong push up as well. ES is kind of lagging behind in that sense. Definitely want to keep an eye on this uptrend here. The ES is finally sort of following suit. Looks like I'll probably end up getting out of that one. So we're headed up higher here. Getting pretty close to my target there. As always, it's tempting to move up my stop, but I found that by doing that, oftentimes I would have gotten stopped out on perfectly good trades that would have worked out. So that's an ongoing place for me to study and think about. CL trade is still on, just kind of chopping sideways at this point. Could go either way, but just gonna let it play out per usual. See if this can just go on up a little bit higher here. Noticing myself in my head saying like, come on, go ahead higher. Go ahead and get me out, but it doesn't matter. Either will or it won't, and either way I need to be content. So, just gonna let that be. Here's another example of why the ES, the NQ, and the RTY are not necessarily linked. The RTY is trending down right now, while the ES and the NQ are rallying pretty hard, where the NQ is rallying pretty hard, and the ES is sort of it's moving up, but not as strongly, but just showing how there's a disconnect between those three charts. While I used to think that there was like some sort of connection, and basically if one was rallying, I was sort of expecting the other two to rally as well. Whereas the CL is mostly, well, this is what I thought, the CL was mostly disconnected, while the ES, the NQ, and the RTY were like kind of linked, but they all seem to move pretty separately. I don't think that it has really any bearing on what the other one's going to do. At least I definitely don't want to trade off of that, like seeing one thing on one chart and taking a trade because of it. Looks like this uptrend has broken, so prices are attempting to move towards the closeout side and new high of that. And they have reached it on the NQ. So we do have a close outside and new high on the NQ. There's a good chance that I get stopped out on CL, so there's a pretty strong rally going on right there. So price has found a lot of support down at this level. They're getting pretty close to my stop.
Stop filled.
Yep, so went ahead and get stopped out on CL. So I was thinking after this uptrend had played out that we'd get a correction to the downside, and we did. We did get a correction. But the correction was short-lived. Short-term downtrend got a break, a new low, and found support at this sort of triple test area. So it wasn't a large enough correction to take the trade that I took, basically. That's how I see it. Price is still struggling to hit this break and new high here. I have a feeling if they do, then it'll probably just go ahead and get me out there, hit my target. Let's figure out what's going on all these charts. The NQ, I believe, has played out to the upside. So again, a strong push down could be something to possibly enter. Yes, making another attempt at these highs. So you've now got a triple test up there. 1, 2, third try. So if it doesn't make it through here, there's a decent chance that you see some selling happening. Feels like my eyes are sort of dry right now. So did find a little bit of selling there, but overall just looks like we're in this congestive area. Lots of sideways action. In the NQ, I do believe this uptrend is played out. So there's a chance that there's a short to come back within this overnight highs and overnight lows. And here we are again on the ES, attempting these highs. Let's see if we can finally get through that strong level the prices have been struggling at. Came back to the EMA, so it's definitely a possibility. Pretty close, just one tick away. Or really 2 ticks away, because it'll probably have to tick on through there. So yep, we tapped off the order. Let's see if we can get on through. Definitely noticing that I'm a little bit too focused on having this trade work out. Again, I'd rather just not care at all whether it works out or not. So I need to sort of work on that. the NQ is continuing to move higher even after this uptrend had a break and new high. Prices came back and tested the overnight highs and held them as support and are now moving higher. So it makes me wonder if there could be some kind of larger uptrend. Maybe something like that could be correct. But it skips a lot of price action here. So I'd say, if I were to bet, I'd say this is incorrect. But it's odd to have, well, I guess this could be kind of 2 legs back on a small scale. So could not be a trend there. Don't know.
Target filled.
So did get out of the ES trade. Looks like prices finally pushed up and through there. It's very tempting to check the P&L and see whether I'm ending out ahead or not, but it doesn't matter, so I'm not going to check it. Looking for a possible 2 legs up on a slightly larger scale here on the CL. Looks like 2 legs up there, but the downtrend, I believe, already has a close outside a new low. We're just in the middle of what looks like a range, so nothing that I'm looking for there. Could look for a strong push below the EMA now, as prices have played out for this uptrend, coming right off the overnight highs. Could be a good trade to take. And the NQ, I'm going to go ahead and remove this. Looks like the uptrend had a break a new high. And then just in case that wasn't convincing enough, prices came back to test it again. But we could get some sort of spike in channel or some other structure working higher now. So I just want to keep in mind that could be, maybe not this trend in particular might not be correct, but something like this could be correct. We have a strong move up on the ES. Starting to look like there could be an uptrend working up higher here though. Looks like on the RTY, those two legs up that I was mentioning would have trapped you out there. And as I said, wasn't a good place to look for a second entry or any kind of two legs, as the downtrend had already played out and you're just in no man's land for that range. I don't know why. Sometimes the ATM strategy just goes off. Well, I know some circumstances that make it go off, but then there's sometimes it just goes off for no reason. Just don't understand. That would be a very strange trend to be right there. Not this one, but if I were to draw something like this where it skips all of this price action, I think that's probably not correct. This one could be though. Or it could also just be something like this. Like here. It could be something like that. That's something to keep in mind as well. I used to sort of think, okay, like, are these structures just inherent in prices and you just like can't see them until prices move through those areas? So for example, like why does a trend, like why do prices turn up here? You know, like were they always going to do that? Was this like already determined that prices were going to turn up there, or does it happen because of other things happening? I think it's a mixture of both. Like, so some of these structures probably are created because of like standing orders, like standing limit orders, and then other ones are like other structures get created as prices move. It's like it's dynamic and it's static. So it's like static in the fact that some people, I mean, there's so many market participants, like some people are selling, some people will just see, I don't know, 18,710 and they're like, yep, that's a good place to sell, and they just have a massive order at this particular order, like the century levels, you know, those could be like psychological, and that's completely different from why someone else would be trading this thinking there's a trend line there, or something like that. So it's dynamic and it's static, I think, just because there's so many participants in the market all at once. That's what I think now, at least. Right, so some of my structures are being proven wrong. I was on my other screen looking at a trend like this. I think that's pretty obviously not correct now. So let's take a look at something like this. Working to the upside. To be right early, you have to be wrong often. Something that I've realized. Definitely whenever it comes to trends. If I want to be right early, I'm going to have to accept that I will be wrong very often. But the trick is to realize when I'm right and when I'm wrong. Or not when I'm right and when I'm wrong, but whenever I'm confident in the trend and when I'm not confident in the trend. I think that's the trick to it. I was just thinking, like, I've been so chill and so relaxed in trades, partially because I'm trading sim right now. So I was thinking maybe it makes sense to start trading micros or start trading another evaluation account or something that sort of ups the stakes a little bit, because obviously sim isn't, activating that, the stress fight or flight response or anything of that nature. But I'm worried that if I do that, then I'm not going to be as experimental and I'm not going to learn as much as I am right now. Like, maybe there's a better time and a place to do that, to start trading, either micros or start trading a simulated account. Maybe or not a sim, but a evaluation account. I mean, evaluation account's a little different. Maybe that could kind of up the stakes without really activating that. I don't know, because the main issue is I want to be able to study my own tendencies and figure out exactly, kind of when I'm right and wrong and build something off of that. And I think if I start trading an evaluation account, I'll start worrying too much about the P&L and worrying about whenever I'm right and wrong more than being more experimental and loose about it. So there's pros and cons. I'm not sure. There could be a time and a place to make that switch. I'm just not sure if I'm in that time and place. Probably looking for a break and new high on the ES. Also on the RTY. I think there's a good chance that we're looking for a close outside a new high there. You could maybe say that this is a close outside a new high all in one bar, but with this trend being a little bit larger, I don't think that's acceptable. I think that there will probably be another attempt of some sort. So far, I'm really enjoying reading price action today. There's a lot of like little interesting things going on, and I'm having a good time. So it looks like we did move up to a more convincing close outside and new high there. There's definitely the opportunity to take a short now that this uptrend has played out and prices are up towards the overnight highs here. One thing worth noting though is last time prices did not come down to the overnight lows. So it could show some buying pressure and a bullish imbalance for this, what looks like a range. Just something to keep an eye on. In the ES, still looking for a long here. Short-term leg back. Breaks this uptrend. Good chance that we go up to test these highs now. Definitely getting some congestion. Man, the CL is moving on up. Could just be like this. I kind of like having that play off of this trend line, the main trend line. And this could still be correct as well. So either one of these could be right, or both of them could be right. So really trying to hone in on the RTY and the ES right now, mainly. So the ES, I'd like to see a strong push up. And the RTY, I'd like to see a strong push down. So kind of looking at two opposite things there. Let's go ahead
Order
and prepare for that.
submitted.
I
Order
like taking
filled.
that strong push up there. I'll take that for 1-to-1. Of course, got in before the signal bar would have finished for Pats, but definitely saw that momentum. I don't think the signal bar necessarily had to close for me to know that momentum was there. And you're getting a second entry long on the NQ, but the structure is less certain. I'm not entirely sure exactly where prices are on the NQ compared to the ES, where I'm pretty sure that prices are going to move towards this break and new high. It's just a matter of, okay, are they going to do it now, or are they going to correct further before they do? Now it's on to the RTY, where prices are continuing higher, breaking out of these overnight highs. Definitely looking for this strong push down. I'd love to see a nice push through the EMA. No increase in my heart rate. Of course, I would like to see the trade work out. I can definitely feel that in myself, thinking, okay, I hope the prices move up. I'm seeing them sort of pause, and I'm thinking, oh, did I make a mistake? But just trying to push those feelings away and trying to just relax and let the trade play out as it does. So that's all I can do. I don't move stops, and there's nothing else to decide. Flip back to the RTY here, where I'm thinking there could be a short to take. There could even be a long on CL. This is crazy. I did not realize how far prices have traded. Look at this. That's crazy. It could be a spike in channel. Up. It's a real tight channel right there. There could be a long there. Could also be exhaustion, as prices have moved so far, so fast. We've broken out of the overnight highs, so could be a risky place to go long. Definitely not so sure about that one. I feel confident that this uptrend was correct. I'm just not sure whether prices are going to test those highs, because prices moved up so far, so strongly, and then had this exhaustive sort of move in the end, plus the break out of the overnight highs. Makes me think that maybe that's not the best decision to look for a long. Yes, we are getting real close to the break in new high and to the target here. So let's see if prices can go ahead and push on up there. Notice that I just swallowed kind of hard there. I've noticed that I do that sometimes whenever I'm a little bit stressed or something like that. So there's definitely some physiological response happening as I'm watching this trade. Getting real close to my target there, just a tick away. Although again, it probably has to tick up 2 ticks in order to get me out. Most of the time you don't get out whenever it touches your order. The CL, you're getting, so you got this one leg back here. Now you're making a second leg back. This would create a second entry long. It's a higher low second entry where this short-term downtrend could still get a break in new low. And as I mentioned before, I'm not so convinced that this uptrend is going to be able to have a break in new high. So, I mean, you didn't get a good bar there and you didn't really see any momentum. But I was going to say, even if you did, I don't think that I can take that. Price is making another push up on the ES, so it looks like we've ticked off my order there. Hoping that they'll go ahead and push through, but again, trying to cultivate myself that it doesn't matter whether it does or not. Yesterday, whenever I was at an event, this girl, someone like accidentally took her drink or something, and she was like, "Yeah, I don't care, you know, I just let it go, you know, I just let it go. I'm like Bob Marley." It's like, I don't know, it made me kind of laugh. So I don't ever think about Bob Marley, but I guess he's back in the sort of pop culture after the movie, which I should probably watch that. I haven't watched it though. Whatever that movie was that recently came out. Just thought it was funny. So we did create sort of a triple test up there. And well, I guess it's like a macro double test, but a triple test if you count this as 1, 2, 3 right there. So it's possible prices go ahead and turn down because it's basically a double top. As prices came up there. So this could be one of those unfortunate losers where prices tick off your order and turn down. But again, I don't move my orders, so just gotta let it happen. Whatever happens, just gotta be Bob Marley, you know. Looking for a possible push through the EMA on RTY after this uptrend is clearly played out with what looks like a break in 2 legs to a new high. So looking for that strong push down. On the CL, I feel like I can make an argument for prices going higher and for prices going lower. So here you have this leg down and you have 1, 2 attempts. This could be 2 attempts at a new high, or this could be 2 legs back before we get a break a new low, before we go higher. So there's kind of an argument to be made on both sides. And in that case, it's probably better to not do anything. Watching for a strong push through the EMA as uptrend, break a new high, possibly coming back within this range area.
Target filled.
And looks like we got out of the ES trade. Prices were able to push up and through there. So in this case, again, good thing I did not move my stop to break even, because even after prices ticked off my order, they would have come back, stopped me out, and then went up and through. So pretty much everything has told me that it's best not to move my my orders to break even so far. Let's go ahead and prep an order
submitted.
just in case prices sort of fall out the bottom here. It's possible we get some strong down action. Okay, that's strong enough selling there that I think will probably continue down. Again, we're looking for a pretty far target, so even if you are expecting a correction, there's no telling whether the correction will be this large. So it's something that I'm sort of working through and trying to figure out how to best compensate and or how to best, I guess, take action on. But we'll see if prices are able to push down and through there. I think they are coming back within that range. I think the uptrend has pretty clearly played out. So I think there's a good reason to take that. CL, this downtrend now has a break and new low. You have a push back above the EMA, and I considered maybe taking this long after this has played out. But again, if I can make an argument for both sides, like if I can make an argument to take a long and a short, then chances are it's probably not a good idea to take either. The ES, you could get basically the same trade as that RTY, as this uptrend clearly has a close outside, 2 legs to a new high. If you get a strong push down, it could be a strong reason to go short. That's what I'm looking for. And the NQ, to me, looks like it's just in some sort of range, like this. Maybe something like that. Notice that I just swallowed pretty hard again. Again, probably because I'm in this RTY trade. I don't feel like my heart rate has increased really at all. I'm sure that it has a little bit. Like if I was wearing a tracker, I'd probably notice that it has a little bit, but not really noticing any physiological response again. Another example of why or how the ES, the NQ, and the RTY are not joint at the hip. The ES and NQ are both moving higher, while the RTY is moving lower in this down leg. So again, they're not the same chart. They cannot be treated the same. Basically have no indication of what each other are going to do, so far as I can see. I think more than anything, there's just no predictive value in that. Like there's no predictive value in saying the ES is going up, so therefore I'm going to also take a long on the RTY or something like that. It's not to say that they might not have similar structures and similar looking trades like after the fact. For example, on the ES and the NQ, there's the same downtrend with the break and new low right towards the overnight lows that led to a pretty strong rally. So that's similar, but that doesn't mean there's predictive value in seeing one thing. Like, for example, if I saw this on the NQ and then decided, okay, I saw that on the NQ, I'm going to enter on the ES, I don't think that's a good way to go about things. RTY continuing to move down pretty strongly here. Would be nice if prices would just have the bottom sort of fall out there, but again, it just doesn't matter. Just gotta let it play out, whatever plays out. It's like we're getting this range. Price is struggling to hit the break new high, so kind of as I expected there. I thought, yeah, prices could get a break new high here, but just with that strong of an uptrend going that far that fast, plus breaking out the overnight highs, it was right for me to not look to take a long there. This is what it looks like so far, at least. I'm not saying prices are going to go straight down, but at least they're struggling to go higher. So I was looking for a strong push through the EMA, but now with this kind of secondary trend that was working up higher a little bit, I don't think that I'm as comfortable taking that, just because we could still see some up action trying to create the break new high of that. So even if we do get a strong push down, at least for the time being, I don't think I'm going to be able to take that. It's unfortunate, but it just doesn't feel like the right decision to me to take that. Not right there. RTY getting really close to my target. Still kind of within this downtrend for the most part. Generally, whenever prices get this close, they usually will play out. With this downtrend, there will probably be a break in new low, and that will probably take them down to the lows if prices don't just go ahead down there to start. Getting really, really close. Just a few ticks away there. About 3 ticks away. And you can tell that's how I care a little bit too much about whether this one works out or not. So I'm sitting here measuring the ticks down. So that's a pretty obvious sign that I care too much whether this one wins. I remember I used to think, I don't really feel this way anymore, but I used to think whenever I was trading sim, you know, I'd tell myself like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's like not even real money. And, you know, if I lose, it's like, whatever. It just doesn't matter. It's, yeah. But then I would like tell myself like the only thing on the line is my ego. And like, that's awful. That's an awful thing to be on the line. I shouldn't feel that way. And I don't really feel that anymore. Or at least I don't currently. Maybe I will at some point. Prices are finding some buying there, so it's unfortunate prices didn't just come down and go ahead and get me out while they were down there. But again, with this downtrend here, I think there's a decent chance that we move towards break a new low, unless you play this tight, in which case you could say there already is a break a new low. Again, only time will tell. There's nothing for me to do. Just wait and see. On the CL, this looks like 2 legs back, so I definitely considered taking this one. With the short-term downtrend, probably needing a break and new low, then you have a pretty clear 2 legs back, so I said, okay, if there's a strong push down, then maybe there's a reason to take this for 1-to-1. I don't want to do it because I'm not so sure, but I will point that out so I can look at that whenever I study this later. So the RTY is finding some strong buying here, which of course is not exactly what you want to see whenever you're looking to have this short here. But again, it just doesn't really matter whether it works out or not. I think that even if this doesn't work out, I was just expecting a correction, and I keep coming back to this idea of you don't know how far it's going to go. So I was expecting a correction after this uptrend had played out and you come back within this range. Well, you got one. The short-term downtrend got to break a new low, which didn't quite reach how far I was taking it, or at least not yet. It could. But I think I would consider myself lucky at this point if it did, because what that would mean is, well, the correction already completed. Now you're waiting for a correction to the upside before you might go down again. So if I do get out of this one, it's probably more luck than anything. Again, something that I'm still sort of working through, how to create the targets based off of this idea, which is where I'm usually most correct, is figuring out when a trend has played out. It's tempting to say maybe whenever prices come off of this range low, maybe to buy, because it does look like prices are in a bullish biased area. But I generally don't play ranges very well, so I feel like that's probably not quite the right decision. It looks like I was correct to skip these two legs back, even though I thought that that could be a good trade. I'm glad that I pointed that out, so that way it's something that I can keep on my radar. But yeah, I would have been incorrect there. Well, it looks like I probably would have been incorrect there. It's not proven yet, but price, well, there we go. Yeah, would have been incorrect there. We're moving up really strongly on the RTY, so chances are this is the start of some sort of next push phase, as prices have already pushed through the overnight highs. That could have held as the range highs there. So we'll see what prices do. I was considering thinking, okay, well, if this trade works out, then I might just hop off, because that would be a pretty good day, 3 wins and 1 loss. But if I'm still feeling pretty good, and there's nothing really wrong, then I should just stay at the chart as long as possible and learn as much as I can. There's really no point in hopping off, especially whenever you're doing well. Like if you're reading the chart well, there's probably a higher chance that you continue to do well. Whereas lots of times, I think I might have it backwards sometimes. Whenever I'm doing well, I'll hop off, and whenever I'm doing poorly, I'll stay on trying to sort of make back whatever I lost, and generally that leads to more losers. So it's like, if you were already reading the chart poorly, you're probably going to continue to, and if you're reading the chart pretty well, you'll probably continue that too. So anyway, this one might stop me out anyway, so it's not even doesn't even really matter. It's just some things that were sort of crossing my mind there. My ear is still popping. So sort of same thing that I thought down here. Generally, whenever prices come this close to your stop, they'll probably stop you out. The short-term uptrend will probably get a break in new high if prices don't just go ahead and stop me out. And if they do, then that will probably take prices up to the stop. I wonder why is it that even an edge or non-edge produces many wins or losses in a row. So like even like a blackjack table where let's say they have a 49% chance of losing, 51% chance of winning. Well, you still see long streaks of them winning, and probably disproportionately, or I guess mathematically has to be disproportionately. And I wonder why that is. I also remember I used to get like if prices came close to my stop, or if prices were just going sideways, I would like say in my head, I was like, I don't care if prices win or they lose, just get me out of this trade. Like I just can't handle the uncertainty. I don't really feel that anymore, but I definitely remember feeling that back, I don't know, probably 2 years ago, even maybe a year ago. I don't know. I wonder why it is that uncertainty really grinded my gears so badly. And that was literally trading sim too. Like it wasn't even like I had a lot of money on the line. Like, I don't know, it's strange. I had to go back and read through a bunch of my old notes. I never really did that. I feel like it was a big disservice to myself. I would have learned a lot if I read back through them. It's like taking the notes themselves after the day is like so minuscule compared to actually reading through those. Like whenever I go back and I document what happened, it's like whenever you're watching a lecture and you're taking down every word that the professor says, well, you're not actually really learning. You're just kind of like taking stuff from one place and putting it in another form, basically. It's like one form to the next, and you're like hardly learning. At least I hardly learn. But whenever you go back and you actually study that material, that's whenever you actually learn it and can, apply that to a test or something. Well, for the longest time, I was going through and I would just go through each day and say, here's what happened, here's what happened, here's what happened. Well, that's great, but like if you don't go back and look through that and find your tendencies and study that, then it's basically of no use. That's what I found out recently, but it's tough to find the time to do both, to go through and point out what happened and then go back through and find the commonalities and everything. It's a lot of freaking work. So I understand why I didn't do it, and I understand why a bunch of people don't do it. But I also just didn't realize, I think. You really are the easiest person for yourself. And there's nothing that specifically made me think about that, but it's so easy to deceive ourselves. Or at least I find it easy to deceive myself. I mean, I can make myself believe almost anything about this chart. I could come up with enough reasons to, I don't know, take a long or a short on this chart right now and convince myself that that's the right move. Even if it's like so obvious that it's not. It's so easy to deceive myself. Possible downtrend. I mean, could you say that's already a break in new high? Possibly. Definitely could there. Could be looking for some shorts though. Just ranging for the most part. So it was a good skip there. Thinking this uptrend might get a break in new high. And at least just even that uptrend being there in the first place made me feel like it's probably not a good chance or good idea to take a short. And that was correct. Those prices are continuing sideways. So they did get a correction after the uptrend played out. It's not the correction that I was looking for. And the strong push through the EMA kind of helps with that a little bit. Similar downtrend, and this one getting awfully close to stopping me out up there. If this one, if it does come down and get me out like on my my target, this will be like a roller coaster of a trade, that's for sure. And I'll watch the CL for now, where there could be a potential short. That's really all that I'm paying attention to for the time being. On the ES, it seems like there could be some sort of secondary trend working higher. Not sure exactly where that would be though. Don't know. The NQ prices are turning in a weird place as well, so it could be something like that. And that does fit a little bit better there. This trend hasn't really come into play at all. In fact, it could just be that. Which would also be a little bit odd, but it at least kind of fits a little better. So I'll leave that there for now. Even the midline kind of comes into play, so I'll keep an eye on that one. See what it has to do. I was gonna say what it has to say, but that doesn't really make any sense. And as prices are,
Stop filled.
well, I was gonna say as prices are approaching, stopped me out. I noticed that I swallowed a little hard there, but didn't really tense up or anything. Kind of expected to get stopped out there though, after again prices came all the way up right there. Just play this for now. Bring this one back. For some reason it's feeling more right to me now. Maybe like, I don't think that's a close outside a new high, not yet. So it could just be this. Kind of like that. It's been a pretty enjoyable trading day so far. Kind of looking at how prices play out on the NQ, it's possible that this is actually already close outside a new high. It's a pretty strong push down. Kind of makes me think that. If this uptrend, I mean, I like the uptrend. I do. This is a lot of sideways action, so that could be a break. I didn't think it was, but it definitely could be. Maybe it's more like that. Have to see. On the CL, this downtrend is still just working on down. Check real quick, make sure my mic is working. It'd be a real tragedy if it wasn't. Looks like it is. That really ticked me off that one day. A couple days ago, a couple trading days ago, just my mic wasn't on at all. I mean, it was on, like it was plugged in, it was unmuted, but for some reason within the software it wasn't hooked up. So I talked for like 3 hours and didn't have anything from it. And that was really annoying. So I missed a whole entire, felt like I lost out on a whole entire day's worth of learning. And I remembered some things that I'd said, and I remembered some, like as I watched through the video, and I got a little bit out of it, but it was not the same. So I like how prices are rushing below the EMA.
Order submitted.
After it looks like they came off this trend line. So I think if you pull that just like a tad tighter in there, say that prices came off the trend line there. They're pushing very strongly below the EMA.
Order
so I'm
filled.
Gonna enter my order there, as expecting prices will probably hold this trend. I'm in general not great at telling whenever prices are going to hold a trend, but with prices pushing below the EMA that strongly, I felt like there will probably be continuation there. So I'm going to look for that 1-to-1. And I should have talked about it before I just entered it, but I did think about that. It's not like I just saw this out of the corner of my eye and said, boom, I'm entering that. So I was considering that for a little while. I got to be better about talking about kind of what I'm thinking as I'm going. So I'm just not great at doing that. It would be incredibly helpful in the reviews. Also to tell like what's kind of impulsive and what's not. We are getting some continuation. Looks like prices might go ahead and move on down there. At least they're getting pretty close. I definitely like that strong move and close below the EMA there to possibly get some continuation. But there is a double bottom here that could be a little bit difficult to push through. So we could find some support at that level. Have to see. I am pretty confident in this downtrend though. I'm definitely finding some rejection off that trend line, so I feel pretty good about it. Noticed that my shoulders were a little bit tight, so I tried to loosen those there. I don't know if they were already tight before I took the trade, but I definitely noticed it whenever I was in the trade. I'm still in the trade, but while I was in it. While I am in it.
Target filled.
And we did get stopped, or not stopped, but did get out there. Really losing my sense of words here, apparently. So this trade was just a strong push below the EMA after I saw prices come off of what I was pretty sure was a trend line. So I like that. I don't really see anything else on any of the other charts that I would like to potentially look at. So I'm just gonna watch this one and see what happens. Sometimes my ear will pop and literally my hearing will get worse. Like it feels like my ear just popped and it feels like my ear is like underwater now. I hate it. I did that yesterday while I was at the event and like it was like so strange because I was trying to talk to people, but I like suddenly felt like I couldn't hear out of my left ear and just I don't know, it just annoyed the heck out of me. So price has really rebounded pretty strongly there. So I found that triple test. I barely got out by one tick, so literally just enough to get me out there. It looks like prices will probably go ahead and move on up. You know, it's possible to take another short here. if prices move through the EMA, it's definitely possible, but I wouldn't want to push through this, especially now that it's a triple test and prices failed to reach the channel line. The opposite side of that trend definitely makes me hesitant to want to short there now. Looks like my streaming software disconnected there, so I'm not sure if the stream is still going. Let's see. Oh, it looks like it's probably frozen up. Maybe we're back. Maybe. Yep, okay, it appears we are back. So not sure exactly what happened there. Just lost connection for a second, but I didn't lose internet, which is odd. So OBS, the streaming software, just disconnected from YouTube for a second. I feel like I'm getting kind of close to being done with this. Oh, not even close. I thought I was close to being done with this coffee, and I generally don't drink a whole one. It's about half whenever I do drink coffee. Not even close to being done with this one. About half. That's where I'm at. Spilled a little coffee. I just thought about this. I was listening to a podcast of Josh Waitskin, who's a real, sort of one of my idols, I guess. And he was talking about how there's like this Tai Chi guy who'd been training for years. And he was like, after 1 year, I really thought that I had it and really thought that I understood. And then after 2 years, I realized that I didn't understand after the first year, but now I got it. Well, after 3 years, I realized that after 2 years, I didn't know anything. But now I had it. Now it's been 10 years, and I realized that after 3 years I didn't know anything, but man, I've got it now. And it's so funny, because that's exactly how I feel with trading. Like after 1 year, I was like, God, this is crazy, I've got it. And after 2 years, I was like, God, what was I thinking after 1 year? And now I'm 3 years in, and I'm looking back, and I'm like, what? I knew nothing. And I don't know, at least now I'm starting to realize a little bit about how little I know. But it definitely feels like, oh, you know, I understand something that I didn't understand at that time, even though I thought that I did, and I can't wait to be at 10 years, even 5 years, 10 years, 15 years out, and looking back and being like, what a buffoon, what an idiot I was. At least I have these videos now. I can look back on them. The first part of this day kind of flew by, but this past, well, since it hit 11 o'clock is whenever I started paying attention to the time, and it sort of started to go a little bit slower. And I think that's pretty typical. For some reason, whenever it gets down to this last hour, it starts to kind of crawl by. I think partially because I've already been sitting here for over 2 hours, but also partially probably because prices slow down a lot. So I'm sure it's like those two combined. But I'm going to take a second. I'm going to go take a quick walk around my house, grab a cup of water, maybe eat a few chocolate chips, and I'll be back in just a second. Okay, I'm back. Make sure everything's still working here. Yep. So, I ate a few chocolate chips, pet my cat for a second, grab some water. Interesting. So we did continue lower. We were able to get through here. I never saw that strong push I was looking for down. So I didn't really have a chance where I, or didn't really have a point where I was thinking, yeah, I really want to enter. But we are headed lower there, despite failing to reach the opposite side twice. It's pretty interesting. It's worth noting that this could already have close outside. I mean, it's kind of tough to tell that at the time, but this could already just be a close outside and new high, which kind of makes sense. So we did get pretty close to the channel line there. Didn't quite hit it. It's just one leg up, so I'd be a little bit scared about just taking a short here, even if there is a strong push down. I think I'd rather wait for some sort of lower high or something. We are getting kind of far in this trend too. It's one of those almost like, I don't know, paradoxes that the more times you test something, you would think that it's stronger, but I think the more times you test something, actually the weaker it becomes, because it's like just more tests of that level It's, I don't know, it's weird. I think that that's true. I'm not entirely certain, but I think that that's true. I think there's like a golden zone probably. I mean, like probably the third and fourth touch are like kind of like your golden zone, and then after that, once you get to like 5+ touches, I think it just like gets weaker after that. Even though I guess this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's a lot of touches. So just want to be ready now
Order
that we did
submitted.
get, sort of this lower high here. Prices sort of pushed down, came back. If we do get a strong push down, then I'll probably look to take that. Really want to see that momentum though. Right now, like if prices are choppy, it's just not it. I want to see the momentum. So I don't be too impulsive. I want to just put that order up for now and wait. Looks like it was the right decision to not take the one leg back here, even though there was a strong push. So now that this is broken, I'm looking for a break and new low of the downtrend. Again, still looking for a strong push down, ideally a strong push through the EMA. So here would be your second entry short right there. First entry, second entry. Looks like a pretty clear 2 legs back. I don't do very well with these higher high second entries, kind of in the middle of nowhere. But it's kind of a tempting entry there. Bar didn't have a whole lot of momentum either. It's definitely tempting though. Be ready to see if there's any kind of momentum here.
Order filled.
That is some momentum. So I probably should have waited a second longer to see if prices really pushed on through that EMA. So I think I might have entered a little bit early there, but I did see that momentum that I was looking for. And prices did push on through there, so I might should have waited for a little bit further of a push to really confirm it. But prices did close through there anyway, so I probably would have entered regardless. Just looking for the break and new low of this downtrend. Seeing that strong push down makes me feel pretty good about it. It's possible that this support level kind of comes into play. So you can see it's kind of, it's been held there as prices held it, broke it, came back, tested it. It's possible it comes into support. I wasn't really thinking about that whenever I took it. So we'll have to see if that ends up coming into play or not. I feel like my read of the chart today has been really, really good, actually. Pretty much everything that I've expected or had, you know, some conviction behind has been correct for the most part. So, you know, obviously I was expecting price to go higher. That worked out. Higher there. That worked out as well. On the NQ, I haven't taken anything, but yeah, I was expecting prices to go higher here, and that ended up being correct. Very similar to the ES, as I've mentioned. Whether this is a break or not, I don't know. So this one, I was thinking, yes, it is a break, and this already had a new high. That might not be correct. Not sure. It's correct about this short here. Oh, and I was right about this prices exhausting themselves and not testing these highs. So I wasn't looking for that long there. So it's right there. I was right that this trend had played out to the upside, but I was incorrect in how far I thought prices were going to go. So it's kind of a here or there one on that. And the RTY, I was correct, the prices had played out, but I was wrong again in how far prices were going to go. But I expected that could be the case. I knew that whenever I was taking it, the prices might not go as far as I sort of expected there, or as far as my target was on there. And we're getting real close to that target there. Just one tick away. So I'd love it if prices could go ahead and tick on down there, and not, you know, really chop around before they do, or anything of that nature.
Target filled.
There we go. So I got out of that. To be honest, I'm pretty happy with that for the day. I think I'm just going to go ahead and call it. Yeah, there's half an hour left, but I've got a meeting at 1 with a client, so give me a little bit of extra time to eat lunch and get prepared for that. So that's it for today. I will be back tomorrow, and I'll be trading the whole week again. So it's great. I'm finally getting back on schedule, for now at least. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.